Welcome to this micro lecture. Today we will talk about the technical file, the conformity assessment and the declaration of conformity. What are the learning goals of today's micro lecture? After watching this video, you will know about the importance of the technical file. You will be able to define what the conformity assessment is, and you will have an overview of the conformity assessment procedure, which depends on the medical device class. As a last point, we will discuss the declaration of conformity. Let's start with the technical file. The technical file is the heart of every medical device and includes all the documents that manufacturers of medical device have to provide if they want to certify their medical device. The technical documentation proves that the applicable general safety and performance requirements are fulfilled. You also need the technical file for the conformity assessment, regardless of whether your device is Class 1, Class 2A, 2B or 3 product. The technical documentation is always required. What should the technical file contain? Generally, it needs to include the company name, the name of the manufacturer, the number and structure of the medical devices. It should also include the product description, specification, validation and verification, as well as the technical requirements and the design, which includes the risk analysis. And lastly, also administrative details, for example, the declaration of conformity. Let's talk about the conformity assessment. The aim of the conformity assessment is to provide evidence that the medical device actually meets the safety and performance requirements, which are defined in the medical device regulation. Medical device manufacturers themselves determine the conformity. To do this, they must go through the conformity assessment procedure, which is depending on the classification of the device. Limited to the preparation of the technical documentation or requires a complete quality assurance system in accordance with ISO 13485. For medical device, the ISO 13485 is the harmonized standard. Now I want to give you a short overview of the conformity assessment procedure, which depends on the product class. Let's start with the conformity assessment for Class 1 medical device. Manufacturers of Class 1 medical device perform the conformity assessment procedure based on the technical documentation according to the Annex 2 and 3. The manufacturer himself issues the EU Declaration of Conformity without notified body and confirms the fulfillment of the safety and performance requirements of the medical device regulation. Let's look at the conformity assessment Class 1M, 1S, 1R. Manufacturers of Class 1M, 1S, 1R medical devices perform the conformity assessment procedure also based on the technical documentation according to Annex 2 and Annex 3. But they also have to assess the quality management system or the quality assurance of the production, in which the notified body must be involved. For medical device assessment Class 2A, the manufacturers has two options to choose from. Option 1, conformity assessment of the quality management system according to Annex 9 and Chapter 1 and 3, including the assessment of the technical documentation according to Section 4. The second option is the assessment procedure based on the technical documentation according to Annex 2 and 3, and the product verification according to Annex 11 and Section 4, or to assess the quality assurance of production according to Annex 11 and Section 10. So what about the conformity assessment Class 2B? the conformity assessment procedure of the quality management system according to Annex 9 and Section 1 and 3, and to assess the technical documentation according to Annex 9, Section 4. Or you assess the prototype testing according to Annex 10 and the assessment of the product conforming testing according to Annex 11. For conformity assessment class 3, manufacturer can assess the conformity assessment of the quality management system according to Annex 9, including the technical documentation. Alternatively, the conformity assessment procedure may be selected in according with Annex 10, prototype testing, in combination with Annex 11, product conformity testing. Let's talk about the Declaration of Conformity. The Declaration of Conformity is an important legal document by which manufacturers declare the conformity of their medical device. It is a written statement and a single declaration drawn up by the manufacturer to demonstrate the fulfillment of the requirements relating to a product bearing the CE marking he has manufactured. Some tips to the Declaration of Conformity. Define clear responsibility. Issue the Declaration of Conformity at the right time of the product development. Do it only once you have fulfilled the general safety and performance requirements. Availability of the Declaration of Conformity. The Declaration of Conformity should be available immediately. Do not issue a Declaration of Conformity without time limitation. Establish clear time limits. Now you know what a technical file is and which document it should include. You also know the procedure of the conformity assessment for each class. You also know what manufacturers want to say with the Declaration of Conformity or what they want to prove. I hope the lecture was helpful for you, and I see you in the next micro lecture.